Welcome back to More Law on Fox 19, your legal questions live, with local broadcaster and award-winning reporter Deb Haas and Cincinnati personal injury attorney Don Moore, recognized by Ohio super lawyers. More answers, more help, more law on Fox 19.
Welcome back as we discuss bankruptcy today. Of course, Don Moore here and Rick Nelson here to help with the tough questions. When I walked in this morning, the two of you were discussing a case that you have going on now that involves a motorcycle wreck and that could also involve bankruptcy. Could we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't for these folks, but yeah, one of the things that oftentimes people think from a bankruptcy standpoint is people just spend too much money. They're not good stewards of what they make, and they overspend and they get in trouble. We've got a photograph I'd like to show you now, and that is a motorcycle wreck that happened last August, and that motorcycle driver did not do one thing wrong, not a thing.
Is he all right?
Well, he's still having trouble, but his financial world, through no fault of his own, was completely turned upside down. Not just him, but his whole family. So what I think the callers may be interested in is, what does a person like that do? What kind of position are they in when they're innocent? They haven't done anything wrong. They never planned for somebody to take them out while they're out for a little motorcycle ride. What's next for them?
They look at their financial situation and determine whether or not some type of bankruptcy, either a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13, will help them financially. They also look at the timing, and an attorney can probably help them with that. The majority of the people that I see, both in my private practice and as a bankruptcy trustee, have literally done nothing wrong. Something went wrong in their life. They lost their job, there was a catastrophic illness or an accident. Something happened. Bankruptcy is not based upon the fact that is a no-fault type of right. You have the right, and there should be no embarrassment or hesitation to use it.
Okay,
Thanks.
What's that?
Just thank it. That's good. That's a good point and stuff I didn't know.
Right. And now we do have somebody on the line. I believe it's Bob from Ohio. Bob, my understanding is that both you and your wife have filed bankruptcy in the past. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your situation now?
Well, I filed bankruptcy in 2004 from a divorce. And my wife and I got married in 2005, and we started a business together. And it was a housing business, and when the housing slump went in 2007, we lost everything. And she filed a Chapter 13 because everything was listed in her name. Mm-hmm. I was on some of the equipment. I was a co-signer. Well, when she filed, we reaffirmed one of the vehicles, and they still repossessed it. And now they're coming after me and garnishing my wages for both the vehicles and some other items. Is there any way that I can file another chapter, either a Chapter 7 or 13?
Good morning, Bob. You can always file the Chapter 13, but you may be able to file a Chapter 7 now or soon. When you filed in 2004, was it a Chapter 7?
Yes, sir.
Well, the measuring stick is 8 years. Figure out what the day was that you filed the Chapter 7 in 2004. 8 years later, you can file a Chapter 7 again.
Well, I filed January of 2004.
Then you're eligible to file again.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure
Certainly.
thing.
Good luck, Bob.
Have a good day, Bob. And next, I believe we have Mary in Cincinnati. Mary?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I would like to know if you file a bankruptcy on rental properties, Chapter 7 or 13, can you put delinquent property taxes in it?
No, Mary. A property tax is like a mortgage, except it primes any other mortgage. You could probably in a 13 set up some type of a payment plan to catch up, or the delinquent real estate taxes. You can't discharge them. They'll attach to the property, though, until they're paid.
And before Mary had called, we had Bob on the phone, and they were talking about filing again. How often does that happen? Is that fairly common, that somebody has a need to come back and file a bankruptcy again?
It's happening more and more, not because people have become careless or anything. It's just because they're now aware of it. In my docket last Friday, I had someone who had filed 20 years before, and they're having to come back and do it again. Things change.
Absolutely. And now we have another call. Kathy in Cincinnati. Kathy?
question. I lost my job in September. I paid my mortgage, my car payment, credit cards, everything on time until this month. And I'm just wondering, is it better to let payments get late, or is it better to file some form of bankruptcy? I mean, which is going to have the least amount of negative impact on my credit?
That's a common question too, isn't it? When to pull the chain?
It's when to pull the chain. Kathy, rather than thinking about your credit, think about your family and think about yourself. If you are just feeding the credit monster and can't catch up, every time you send in a payment may be like setting fire to your dollars. Talk to a bankruptcy attorney or someone who can give you advice, and maybe there's a different way to get your life started again.
It is difficult. I mean, these days you hear so much about that. Is one person in a family loses a job and they just, people aren't ready for that. I mean, we talk a lot about two-income families, and things can, you take one income away and all of a sudden you're eating into all the savings and everything.
It happens quickly.
One question that comes up a lot, and we can talk about right after the break, and that is, what do you get to keep? A lot of people think, boy, if you file bankruptcy, that's it. You're done. Everything goes. And that's not true, is it?
It's not.
We have some information for them right after the break about that.
Well, then don't go anywhere. Stick with us as we discuss bankruptcy here on More Law. We'll be right back. Welcome back to More Law. With me, of course, Don Moore. Rick Nelson, thank you for joining us. Now, the Kentucky and Ohio Bar Associations do require that we give the addresses of the attorneys on the show, so we want to do that now. If you're looking for Rick Nelson, he's with Cohen, Todd, Kite, and Stanford, 250 East 5th Street, Suite 2350 in Cincinnati, 45202. His phone number, 421-4020, or ctks.com. Of course, Don Moore with the Moore Law Firm, 1060 Nimitzview Drive, Suite 200. 513-232-2000 or morelaw.com, or you can just go to fox19.com and click on More Law. So we mentioned there were some things we wanted to discuss with Rick about exemptions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did, because when, people have asked me, and of course I'm not a bankruptcy lawyer, but they've asked me, and of course when they've got in financial trouble, they say, hey, do I lose everything? That's just awful. And Rick, what's the answer to that question?
In a Chapter 7 especially, you don't lose everything, and in very few cases do you lose anything. There are exemptions set under state law. In Ohio, a couple examples, you have $20,200 of equity per person in a residence. If both husband and wife file, the house is in both names, you get that exemption times 2. You get $10,700 plus in household goods. Your IRAs, your 401ks are exempt. And if you've been in an accident, Don was talking about the motorcycle accident, a good deal, maybe all of the recovery you would make for your injuries would be subject to the exemptions also.
And Don, Rick, we have just about a minute left, but if you had one piece of advice to give folks at home about filing for bankruptcy, what would it be?
See a professional, someone to help focus you on what you need to be concerned about, what you don't need to be concerned about. Once you understand the process, it's not scary, you'll be treated with respect, which you deserve, and you get on with your future. That's what you really need to save.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And Don, would you like to talk a little bit about what's coming up next week?
Next week, I am so excited. Margot Grubbs, an attorney from Northern Kentucky, is going to be with us, and it's going to be Ask Us Anything.
You're excited. I'm a little scared.
Well,
I'm nervous.
I think it's going to be a ball. We're going to have a lot of fun. People can ask anything they want about any subject they want, and we're going to do the best we can to help them. And Margot has got a broad range of experience of all kinds of things. Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to that, so get those questions together for us. See us here again on More Law next Monday at 9:30. Thanks very much. We'll see you then.